I see
Oh
it
yeah,
all.
I gotta get it right. You already
No,
know.
man. Yeah, you always, from the moment I ran into you at the Players Tribune, I see the way you and your team think, and I wanted to take a second just to commend you for how you handle yourself, brother. Like, honestly, we're around successful people all the time. That's a byproduct of being in our industry. And you see a lot of people that have been able to do some pretty phenomenal things, but it's the people that I gravitate towards that have gone through adversity, but still keep their head very high and they hold themselves to a very high standard. So I wanted to first off say I respect you for that, man. Respect and love for
Hey,
that.
I appreciate that. That means a lot, especially coming from you, for sure.
So look, man, welcome to the boardroom. We'll be quick. We'll be good today. It's a sunny day, so I'm letting the sun come in the room. I first
All
want to ask you,
day.
where are you, man? Where are you right now? Give me, paint a little quick picture about where you and your family are and how you guys have been dealing with everything.
So we're back in Seattle, actually. So we're in the midst of everything, but we've been dealing with it, just day by day, just trying to be um, as up to date as possible on everything that's going on, trying to stay out the way. But at the same time, with them canceling school and things like that, the biggest thing for me has been being a teacher. Me and my wife been being a teacher Monday through Friday. Um, making sure the kids doing their work.
I see you there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now. All right. So I don't know what
Yeah, my
happened, man.
bad,
I'm sorry about
It just
that.
reconnected.
Yeah.
But for the most part, just being a teacher, being around my family, and being around the kids and making sure they're doing everything, and at the same time, just trying to stay out the way and continue to try to be as active as possible. That's riding the bike, being outside the house, and playing on the basketball hoops and things like that. But other than that, just doing what everybody else is doing. Yeah.
You're getting yourself physically and psychologically ready. Who knows? This season's been suspended next year. Like, being that you're quarantined, that everybody's quarantined, like, how do you keep your body in shape, man?
I think you try to control the things you can control. I got the Peloton bike here, so I'm on that each and every day. I mean, I got little tools around the house that, I can keep my cardio up as much as I can. Um, Fortunately, I got a basketball hoop outside my house, full court, that I can actually get shots up when the weather's nice. But other than that, I think more so mentally than anything, you got to just keep your mental right, because you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, so you don't know when this thing is going to end. You don't know when basketball is going to start back up, so you got to try to stay mentally sharp as you can, which is obviously easier said than done. But do everything that you can control to stay mentally sharp, because physically, I mean, you can find out different ways to stay fit, but I think for professional athletes, it's the mental side, because we're in we're in the time where we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's next. So just trying to stay mentally sharp.
I know how your heart is built. I know how your mind is built. You're a killer. There's no doubt about it. I was going to straight up ask you, why do you think you're not in the league right now?
Right now, I think it was I got put in a trade that a team. I was like a throw-in a trade. So they were they were going for Marcus Morris, and I was a throw-in a trade, which I understood that when it happened. Both sides came to agreement of the opportunity. The situation wasn't going to work. So um, I got waived. I mean, obviously, I started 40 games this year for the Washington Wizards and played pretty well due to the circumstances. But
No, you did.
uh,
You did.
um, but for the most part, it was just when I got waived, it was trying to find a playoff team to see if a situation was right. So I was still waiting on that opportunity to see if any playoff team needed me, or any team period needed me for a good opportunity. And I was playing the waiting game, staying ready, and then all this coronavirus stuff has happened and then shut down everything. So for me mentally, I just try to stay as positive as I can, knowing that I controlled everything that I possibly could control in that situation. I got thrown in a trade where a team wasn't looking for me and they didn't want me. So then, that's why I got waived. So I try to just stay mentally tough and know that it wasn't my ability that got me traded and waived. It was, business decision and situation decision that got me traded and waived. Not, and that's a positive right there. So I know whether it doesn't happen, if the season starts back up, I know I would be on the team come free agency for sure.
It, take me through your journey a little bit because I think it's very important for people to understand like who you are now. You never become who you are now without going through the experiences collectively that you had to go through in your journey.
For sure.
And brother, it feels like it feels like it was yesterday. I was watching you destroying people in Boston,
Yeah,
and I saw you on Twitter the other day. You pay homage to all their fans.
for
Tell me what
sure.
that experience was like playing for the Celtics, man, and playing at that high level that you played at.
Yeah.
You're a two-time All Star with them.
Yeah, I mean it was an unbelievable experience because when I got traded there, which is crazy, I didn't want to go to Boston. They were rebuilding. They just traded the big three. I think a year before Rondo just got traded, and me going there, I know they was going through a rebuilding process. So when I got traded, I didn't want to go there. But then when I got there, it was like everybody welcomed me with open arms, and Brad Stevens was like the first guy that really believed in me. I mean, gave me the reins. So, okay, we need a guy like you, and that was a team that I needed a team like them. So it just worked out genuinely, like gradually it worked out. And the first year I was coming off the bench, the second year I was supposed to come off the bench, and Marcus Smart ended up getting hurt, and I got in the starting lineup. And then from that day forward, it kind of like I never looked back. The opportunity just became bigger and bigger, and I was just ready for that opportunity. I always dreamed of a big opportunity, being the man for a franchise, getting MVP chance in while you're at the free throw line. Those were always dreams of mine. And for it to happen, it was something that I visualized, and I think I spoke into existence, and I was ready to take advantage of that opportunity when it was right in front of me. And then I did that. I mean, I everything kind of fell in the right, the pieces fell in the right spots, but I worked very hard for that opportunity. And, they were behind me. Brad Stevens, the coaching staff, my teammates were able to let me be able to be myself. And I think that's what I showed people. With given the opportunity, I could take it to that level. And, I got hurt, got traded, and then it's just the opportunity hasn't been, I guess, at that high of a level with the teams that I've been on recently. Get traded to Cleveland, playing 14 games there, getting traded to the Lakers, ending the season there, deciding to get surgery, signing with Denver, taking longer than I thought I would take to get healthy. But I did that because I wanted to take my time and really be able to come back and be healthy. And then coming into that situation where they were rolling, we was number 2, I think, in the Western Conference. And I understood the decision to take me out of the rotation because I didn't want to mess anything up. And when I came there, I told them I was there to help. I wasn't there to mess anything up. So 29 DNPs, not playing from March something to the end of the playoffs, and we went to the 7th game of the playoffs in the second round. So that was frustrating and that was hard, but I continue to work. I continue to be a great teammate, continue to be professional. Got a great opportunity in Washington with the Wizards, with John Wall being out and coming in, being able to start and showcase that I could still play at a level that many didn't think I could play at, with me being healthy now. So, I mean, it's been a roller coaster, but it's been, at the end of the day, I'm living my dream of being able to be an NBA player, playing 9 years in the NBA and having so much more, years left in my career that I can help an organization, not just on the court, but off the court. So it's been hard. I've been human, so I got real feelings, and it's been tough. But my family's good. My kids are healthy. I'm healthy, and I know if I'm given a real opportunity, I take full advantage of it and showcase I can still play at a high level. So I know that I can control that.
Take me there, man, because I got a chance to play a year, and I played against so many incredible guys, and it was like halfway through the year where all of a sudden I had a 20-point game, had a 30-point game, and I was like, yo, I can do this. I can do this and be great at
Yeah,
this. And then obviously I had my accident, but I knew one of the things I struggled with processing wise was watching all these guys that I had just given the
yeah,
business to and knew where I was at, right? Watching them get paid boatloads. And I feel like for you, you're going to be a max player, IT,
for
like you're a
sure, for
max
sure.
player. Like how do you process that, or where did your brain go then as opposed to where your brain goes now? Obviously, I know you're optimistic and you fight
Yeah,
through it, but how did you go through that?
I mean, it was tough because at the end of the day, I got injured, and if things were to go how I dreamed of them to go, or not getting injured and keep playing, with the Celtics, I definitely would have been a max player. No doubt about it. My production was max production, but that didn't happen. So I can't dwell on the things that didn't happen. My wife always says, like, we didn't get the max. So why are we continuing to talk about it? Why are we continuing to be upset about it? Obviously, yes, that's what I wanted. That's what I felt like I should have. got and deserved, but I
Were
got
you
hurt.
really upset? Did it really?
I was at first. I was throughout the whole team. There's times that I do be mad seeing guys getting paid, not necessarily being mad at that person that gets paid because I want everybody to take advantage of this opportunity and everybody to get their money and what they're worth. But I was upset that I wasn't one of those guys because I felt like I deserved it and I put in the work. I put in the work, the time, and the production was at one of the highest levels that anybody ever seen.
Hmm.
And the one thing that I always talk about, not necessarily today, is just like I was never given that opportunity again to be able to show that I can play at a high level. That was the thing that I was probably upset the most about because the world was expecting me to go out and get 30 because that was the time, that was what they seen before I got hurt. And every situation and opportunity hasn't been that to go get 30, which I don't blame that. The situations are what they are, but that's not being realistic and putting those realistic, goals on myself. That's not real because I'm not given that same opportunity. If you get what I'm saying, like
I do.
my opportunity has been less and less the teams that I've been on, which I've tried to take advantage of those opportunities. And that's what I just try to tell people. Like, yes, do I believe I can still do what I did in Boston? Yes, with that opportunity, but I'm not fighting for that opportunity. I just know if I'm given a good opportunity, I'll take advantage of it. And that's when bigger opportunities comes. And that's all I ask for. And that's all I want. And that's all I dream about still, and that's all I try to visualize and talk into existence. If it's just getting that opportunity to show that I could still play at a high level, that's
How's
what
your,
it's really about.
yeah, how's your game different now than what it used to be?
Um, I just think I'm smarter. I'm not just going in there, throwing my body around. It was a point in time I was just,
I used to call
I,
you Mighty Mouse because you
yeah,
throw yourself in there, man.
that's what I'm saying. So I mean, it was how I always played. So I think now that I got hurt and was able to study film, was able to figure out the things I still can do and still can do at a high level, it was like, okay, the game has slowed down for me. Let's figure out um, ways I can be, I guess, successful by not playing that same way because that way that I played, it was tough. It was kind of like how Allen Iverson used to play, and he was always hurt, always had bumps and bruises that us little guys, it's way harder for us little guys to fight through those bumps and bruises than the 6'7", 6'8" guys. So I think my game now, it's the same. It's just growing into a sense of I got to get that confidence back is where I can drive every time like I used to. Because mentally, after you have an injury,
Yeah.
it's really all mental. Like nothing went away. Like I can still shoot it. I can still play at a high level. It's mentally hitting, I guess, milestones that I set for myself that, oh, I can still do that. Okay, let's continue to do that. Because as you know, anybody with injuries, the mental side is bigger than the physical. Like the physical, you work so hard to get it back, but mentally it's like you have to you have to jump over that obstacle of getting it back mental. So
Did you have a moment while you were playing in Washington where you're like, damn, that's, yeah, there he is.
oh, for
Here he,
sure.
tell me about that moment. Or did you,
There was moments where I would drive to the hoop. I can't name the particular moment, but there was moments where I'd drive to the hoop and I just blew by my guy. I'm like, dang, I still do got it. Like I still, because as you get hurt, you kind of like you're timid on a few things. You're timid of moving ways that did hurt before in your body. And when I was able to showcase that each and every day in practice and each and every in games where I didn't have to take days off, I didn't have to take games off. It was like those were little stepping stones in my progress that I was just mentally, they were positive for me because it was like, okay, I still got that. I can still go to the hoop and finish over the bigs. I still have that. It's just mentally going out there and doing it and showcasing it. And that's what I did. And that's what I did to the best of my ability due to the circumstances in Washington. And like I said, I can't thank them enough for giving me that opportunity to be able to showcase that I can still play. And that's what was probably the biggest thing for me, showing people that I am healthy and I can still be valuable and I can still, produce at a level that wins games.
tell me about your family, IT, because I think that's one of the things a lot of fans and people don't think about. It's easy for people in the media to commentate on your career, injuries, where you've been, how you're playing now, but people don't see the people that actually help you maintain your rock like state of mind, that are I mean, it has to be challenging, right? Because you have your family in Boston. Then,
Yeah.
I mean, how many places has your family been? Have you guys just decided to make Seattle home? Do you go back and
Yeah.
forth? How's all that work?
Seattle's always been home with in the off season. I got a house here, so we're always here in the off season. But that's probably the hardest thing that people don't understand is since 2017, I've been to Cleveland, LA, Denver, and Washington. And I got 3 kids that are in school. Actually, my little girl's not in school; she's only 1. But my 2 boys are 9 and 8, and then I got a wife that each of those destinations we've had to get up and move. And it's been harder for my family more so than me. If I didn't have kids or I didn't have a family, I think it would be way easier. Like I'm fine with just getting up and going. I've been able to do that my whole career and whole life. But with my kids in school, that's probably the biggest obstacle I got to push through because my kids build friendships like they be in school and they're like this year in DC, they didn't want to leave. Like that was their best school. That was something that they just built friendships that you know how it is with friendships. That's hard to be able to jump the last 3 years, be able to keep moving and having to meet new people. And the one thing I just try to tell them is like daddy has to do the same thing too. Like I got to meet new teammates, I got to be in a new organization. So I try to tell them that I'm going through the same things that they're going through of meeting new people and getting comfortable. And that's definitely the hardest thing with me moving team to team the last 3 years is being able to make sure my family is comfortable and they're all right.
Tell me about that first process with Cleveland, because obviously when you came back off that injury, expectations were so high for that team.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how was it playing with Bron? How was it playing in that arena with those fans? And what was the aura around that whole thing?
I just think the expectations wasn't fair because not just necessarily for myself and knowing with playing with Brian, the expectations are always, being the best team in the league and going to the finals and winning the championship. You got to do that or you're bust playing with him. So I understood that, but I don't think the world understood what we was going through. Like I didn't play till January, and people got to understand. I think we had 8 or 9 new players that was on a team that went to the finals 4 years in a row. So it was like they didn't give us realistic time to get jailed and situated together. Like they wanted to, but at the same time, they didn't understand we won 17 or 18 games in a row in that season. So I think it was tough because first it was a new team, so everybody got to get accustomed to playing with each other. Second, I came in January, which is 30, 35 games in, and I got to get acclimated. This was my first major injury where I sat out 7 to 8 months. I got to get acclimated myself. So I got to get acclimated with playing with arguably the best player in the world, playing with Dwayne Wade, playing with Kevin Love, D Rose, J.R. Smith, and the list goes on. Like, so I think everybody wanted it to be great so fast, and that wasn't a realistic timetable. And like I said, I played 14 games there. I think a lot of people panicked because it wasn't seeming like it was working out. But I feel like if we stayed together, that team was built to make noise in the playoffs. Like
Mm-hmm.
we had killers on that team. We had a team that could have when the game slowed down in the playoffs. I think we could have won a championship. But it was amazing being able to just be side by side with LeBron, play with Kevin Love, play with D Rose, D Wade, Hall of Famers. Like that was one of arguably the best team that I've ever played on. So it
But I
was
see you
amazing.
went from being like you were the alpha when you were in ball. Like you were the alpha, right? And
Sure.
you're still an alpha. You always are an
Yeah.
alpha. It never changes. But I would have to assume if you play with Bron, if you play with D Wade, if you play with Kevin Love, you're coming off an injury. You know, you said mindset is everything. How'd you? That's a huge shift off an
Yeah.
injury too. Like,
For
how do you
sure.
balance that? Who helped you throughout those times to keep you sane and to keep you on track to keep fighting?
I think first and foremost, my support system, my family. I mean, obviously those guys were amazing. Like my teammates were amazing. They welcomed me with open arms. They watched every single one of my workouts, my rehab sessions. So they were there and they seen it. So I don't think it had nothing to do with my teammates why the situation didn't work. It just didn't. But the noise, the noise off the court was tough because it's hard to anybody can say, okay, I don't listen to none of that. I don't listen to the media, but we were the only team the world was talking about, us and the Warriors. So with a team with LeBron, everything is, magnified. Is on a everything is on a scope. So everything you do, everything you say is going to get out. The only thing I knew how to do was be myself. So when I seen things that wasn't going right, I would speak up. When I seen, and it was new to probably everybody, but I was just only being me. And I think not necessarily my teammates, it didn't rub my teammates the wrong way because they knew what I was coming from, but it rubbed the outsiders the wrong way. Because it's like, who is this new guy coming in, having a voice and thinking he knows it all? It was
Give me
never
an
like
example.
that.
What do you mean?
I was just being a leader. So it was a lot of outside noise of, I guess, me complaining, and I wasn't complaining. It was just media was asking me questions and I was answering them.
Ain't that
That's
something?
all it
You're
was.
damned if you do. You're damned if you don't.
Exactly, and that's all it was. I wasn't bringing nothing to the table. I was just answering questions that the media was asking me. And I think during that time that I came back, I think we were 7-7. We had a few blowouts that we didn't. We were on the wrong side of blowouts, wrong in the blowouts, and it was just something to talk about. And like you said, I was coming off being second team All NBA, averaging 29 points a game. So the last thing they seen was me doing that. And for me not to play the level and then us to not be winning and me be on the same team as LeBron James is just something to talk about. So, when I was in the middle of it, it was tough, but it had nothing to do with my teammates. It was tough just because, like you said, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. Like I was in a lose-lose. It felt like.
You've had so many experiences, man. You've been around so many different people. I honestly believe that any NBA team would be lucky to have somebody with your leadership on their roster. Tell me about who IT is now. Like obviously our show is about business. Like you've been around the league, you guys,
Yeah.
dealt with different CBAs. I know the league right now is in a really weird predicament where they could exercise a clause within the CBA where guys may not get paid in April. What are your thoughts just on the business of basketball and where is it going? And like I don't know, like how will you think your new contract or the new team you'll be on, how will it be
Yeah.
different?
Um, I mean, like you said, the business side of it, we're just in the not know right now. So we don't really know too much other than the updates the Players Association is giving us, my agency is giving us. But like hopefully, I mean things work out where, we continue to get paid throughout this whole situation. But I think everybody's in a panic mode and that starts with the owners. And I don't know if that's the case, but I just think everybody's really in this situation looking out for themselves and trying to, and that goes from the top to the bottom.
What's your agent
And
telling you, IT? What's your
I'm
agent
with
telling you?
I'm with Excel Sports, Sam Goldfeder. So I've been with them for the last since I was in Phoenix. So um, I think it's just a tough situation to be in, but hopefully as a player and as somebody that's played in the league and still under contract, like I want all my chips, like, and I know everybody else does due to the circumstances. Is even the people who outside of sports who can't work due to the coronavirus. Like everybody somehow wants to figure out ways to be able to continue to get paid and continue to pay their bills and continue to, take care of their families. Because that's the most important thing is me being able to take care of my family, and that's I think everybody's mindset. And to answer your question, I'm in the not know. I don't know a lot because you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. We just got to continue to go day by day and figure out things that's going to work for us as professional athletes and as citizens in general, people in general.
All right. Um, since you have a little bit of free time, are you looking at any different businesses? Are you involved in anything business wise that you maybe never thought you would be at the beginning of your career?
I got a production company called Slow Grind Media, so I got into that a couple of years ago. I partnered with the Players Tribune, um, with my company and my production company of putting out content for athletes all over the world, and just trying to figure out different ideas we can do. Especially this summer when things hopefully start to die down. I'm into that really big. I'm into content. I'm really into telling your own story, being able to tell your own story as an athlete in general. And then I did the commentating thing with the Players Association last summer, so I'm big on that. That's something that when my career is over, I want to transition into
Mm.
is being able to commentate in games and in studio like you guys do. Um, and also this summer, I was planning on going to the coaches committee. That the top 100 camp that the Player Association does, because at some point I want to be a coach. I don't know if I'm want to be a head coach, but I would definitely love to be assistant coach and also be in the front office. Those are all things that I'm interested in. The business side of things is like, slowly progressing. I think like a lot of athletes is trying to figure out which lane I want to be in, but that's what I'm interested in. I want to be a part of the game of basketball, whether it's coaching, commentating, or front office. And because that's just been my life, and I love the game, and I think I got a good idea of how things work in this league, whether it be high school, college, or the pros. I think I could be able to help the next generation in a lot of ways.
All right, I got some quick hitters for you. Ready?
Yeah,
Let's go through a couple of them, then it'll all be over.
yeah,
Take a breath. You ready for this ride? Okay.
yeah. Yes,
Most
sir.
underrated coach in the NBA.
Underrated coach. I would go with I would go with Brad Stevens. I would go with Brad Stevens, and I would go with I got another one, Frank Vogel for the
Mm.
Lakers, because anybody who coaches LeBron is kind of in a lose-lose situation. If you lose, it's your fault. If you win, it's not. Like if you win, it's because the players. So I feel like he's done a great job this season in terms of them being I think number one in the league, and them him doing a great job of being able to coach those superstars and being able to do what he's done this year. So I got two for you. That
I
was the
also agree
last
with you
one.
on Brad Stevens. It feels like ever since when Kyrie was there, all of a sudden Brad Stevens started to get a bad rap,
Exactly.
right? And then it went from like being the best coach in the league to all of a sudden can he, get teammates to work together? And it's interesting hearing you say that. Okay, most skilled player in the league.
Most skilled player in the league. The most skilled player is he's hurt right now, but Kevin Durant for sure.
Is that because you're on this platform?
That's not like I'm a big KD fan. If you see right here, that's a KD jersey. Sonic.
Ooh, I do see that in
Sonic.
the back.
Yeah, the Sonic. So it's not because I'm on his platform. I think offensively, he could possibly be the best player ever. When it comes to offensive tools,
I'm with you.
I think we never seen anybody like that. I mean, obviously Michael Jordan, but being 6'11" and being able to have no flaws in the offensive end, we've never seen that.
Who was the player that when you saw him, your eyes became red? You couldn't wait to give him 50.
Um,
Yeah, I'm tapping into that pit bull right now. I know.
nah, that's a tough one, but it was like all the top point guards that was ahead of me. So whoever that could be, they politically they always have their guys that they pick. But like if it was Steph Curry, Lillard, Westbrook, the list goes on.
Come
With
on,
those
see, I know
guys,
there had to be one. No, you like, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him.
I mean, I mean, Kyrie was always a good one. Kyrie was always like he was the first pick. I was the last pick. We end up getting traded for 8 years later, 7 years later. So it was always that comparison, but he was always a guy that I always liked competing against for sure. And I always wanted to give him the business. But
Best,
it was always in the competitive thing. Like he did his thing, I did my thing. So
best teammate you've had throughout your journey.
best teammate I've had is best teammate LeBron James on and off the court. I
Why?
mean, he's because he brings everybody together. I've never seen nothing like that. Where every night on the road we're going to dinners. We're building that camaraderie off the court. On the court, he's just I mean, he's an ultimate leader. Like he's someone that you've never seen nothing like it. I haven't, other than having rest in peace by having a really good relationship with Kobe Bryant. I've never been next to a guy that you know walks the walk and talks the talk. So like he does everything that he says he's gonna do. First guy in the gym, last guy to be in there. Takes care of his body. It's unbelievable. You see why he's one of the greatest.
What happened at dinner? Are we talking everybody going Dutch? LeBron taking care of it? Like what's?
Sometimes everybody he's taking care of everybody, but I had to respect everybody got their own money, so we try to chip in, but it's usually the guy that makes the most.
I'm with you. All right, and last question. In 5 years from now, what will be on Isaiah Thomas's legacy?
And 5 years from now, I'll be in my 14th year in the league. Um, I think my legacy would be through the ups and downs of my career, the highs and lows. I was able to control it all. I was able to continue to push through any obstacle that I faced. I always say my obstacle are my goals are bigger than the obstacles that are ahead of me and that I face. So everything that I went through, my story, I feel like always is an inspiration for the next generation, especially the little guys that look up to me. It's like nothing was ever given to me, and I want everybody to realize that in life in general, you got to keep pushing through, whether the highs or the lows. And my legacy is gonna, I think, be about that, inspiring the next generation of whether it's good or bad to keep fighting and keep pushing through and figure out a way to get through it.
And one more, because it sparked my mind. By the way, I just wanted to clarify something for fans. When you say little guys in the league is like 6'4", 6'5", and under. Okay, like
That too.
yeah,
I'm talking for all of them.
yeah, all of us.
All of them, not the ones that's just my height. I'm talking about 6'3" and under. The smaller crew. So
So
I'm
wait,
talking about everybody.
what things technically do you need to work on from a basketball craftsmanship that for being a small guy that make your game such a differentiator?
I think for being somebody, so we could do two things, guys, your height and my height. I think for me, for guys my height, I think the biggest thing you got to be obviously you got to be a dog. You got to not back down from guys, but you got to be special. Whatever that means, you got to be special every time you step on the floor. Whether that, I always say to people, when I want to go to a gym where somebody might not know who I am, but when they leave that gym, they be like, man, that little guy, he was special. I don't know who he was, but he was the best guy on the floor. So I think being a little guy, you got to be special in all aspects. Like you can't have any, I guess, weaknesses, which is hard because everybody has weaknesses. But being small, it's like if a guy shoot over you and score over you, they'd be like, oh, he's too small to play defense.
Mm.
Well, maybe that was just a good shot. But if I score over somebody bigger, it's like, okay, that was just good offense. Like, you get what I'm saying? So you being a little guy, I feel like you're in a lose-lose situation when it comes to a lot of things on the court. But I always tell small guys, you got to be special. Whatever that means, making an impact, you got to be special. And that's what I try to do.
Team, you're very special, man, and we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us, brother. I think you're going to influence and change a lot of the way people think. And God bless you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. I look forward to
I,
seeing you in the
I
leadership.
I I appreciate it, my guy. It's always, it's an inspiration to be able to talk to you and hear your story and see how you bounce back in so many ways. So that's big time as well. So you got a guy from out here looking up to you as well.
That's what little guys do,
You,
IT.
you
That's what
already
little
know.
guys do.
You already know.
All right, brother.